After 13 years of madness, my end came on April 15th of 1993 by getting arrested for my third DUI. I blew a .36 at noon. That's basically comatose driving a car. I could have killed anybody. Got arrested, and literally, I believe that my dead mom and God gave me just a clarity to say, I'm done. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what sobriety was. I didn't know how to attain it. I didn't know how to live it. But I knew that my drug addiction and my self-destructive behavior was over. And ever since that day to this very moment, I have physically, emotionally, spiritually, educationally, socially been on a quest for self-betterment and taking that self-betterment and helping other people. So when I first got sober, I spent a lot of time going to traditional support group meetings to learn about alcoholism and drug addiction, to talk to like-minded people who were not just as crazy as I was, but just as hurting as I was and doing crazy things like I was. I wanted to know and have support from other people like that. And I also wanted to know what my choices were doing to my family and friends, which I had no concept of how bad that was, none whatsoever. So I came up with the idea and the program called Racing for Recovery. I simply wanted to prevent kids who I knew were hurting like I was, who have gone through divorce, who have been sexually abused, who have been verbally abused, who have moved a lot, who don't value who they are and are hurting. I wanted to prevent that kid from becoming who I was. And I wanted to show other substance abusers who were using drugs to self-medicate, their families, and our community that with sobriety anything is possible. People were calling me from other programs and they would say things like, do you have any other type of support group meeting that's out there? Because what I'm currently doing isn't enough. And I started hearing this over and over, and I thought, well, if there's a need for this, let's start a format that is different than what is currently offered. So instead of just putting a bunch of substance abusers in one place, I wanted to put everybody in one place. This room here on Thursday nights has over 100 people in it. Substance abusers, educated nurses like yourselves, families, the community, everybody comes in here and we have an open, honest, detailed, educational conversation about the impact of trauma, how to heal from trauma, and how to live a balanced, productive, healthy, sober lifestyle that people are happy living. There is a big difference between not using drugs and being miserable and healing from what caused you to use drugs and being happy you're not using drugs and going out there and living life. If there's anything that I want to be an example to people of, as I said earlier, it's look what can be done in your sobriety. I was told when I quit drinking, you have to do this or you won't stay sober, and I just don't see it that way. I think people need to find a spiritual connection. They need to have emotional wellness. They need to have sober, effective peer support. They need to be educated, they need to be employed, they need to volunteer, and they need to get out there and be physically active. That's what makes me tick. That's what I see. A lot of people who are successful, they're living our balanced, holistic way of living.